Yesterday we discussed the halacha of the difference between when we make our own prayers or when we are making a prayer on behalf of someone else. When we make prayers on our own behalf, although it would be ideal to understand what we are saying, however, if we didn't, we still fulfill the obligation. However, if we are making a blessing or a prayer on behalf of someone else, and we fall into the category of shomea ka'oneh, meaning by me saying it, they're listening and answering, that other person has to understand the words, at least the translation, the basic translation of what the person that is saying it actually said. Now we come to a halacha of reciting Kaddish, as there are many in the room now that are reciting Kaddish. When we recite the Kaddish, is there an absolute obligation to understand the words that are being said or not? So, following with the rule that we said, since you're saying Kaddish and it's your obligation, whether you're a child of someone who passed away or a sibling of someone who passed away, it's your obligation. Since it is your obligation to say the Kaddish, according to the letter of the law, you do not need to understand the Kaddish that you are reciting. And therefore, to those who don't know how to read Hebrew letters or Hebrew words with Hebrew letters, there's absolutely no problem reading Kaddish in phonetic. Phonetic means with ABCs or any other language, whether it's French, English, Spanish, whatever language that is easy for one to recite in, would be completely permitted. Even though it's permitted, ideally, especially if you're planning on saying the Kaddish for the whole 12 months, there is many different books that they give a very simple, normally at the end of the Siddur, they give a simple explanation and translation. Kaddish is a little harder to understand because it's not in Hebrew. It is, for the most part, in Aramaic. And therefore, even if you're one who speaks Hebrew, it could be quite difficult to understand the words of the Kaddish. And therefore, anyone who is reciting Kaddish should, whether it's one line a day or one word a day, it doesn't matter, understand and start to learn the translation of that word. So this way you can connect to the Kaddish in a much better way. But again, if you didn't understand it, you still fulfilled it because you're doing it and it's your obligation. The last thing I wanted to mention for this morning is... The last thing we're going to mention for this morning is as follows. We look at different synagogues and we go to the bookshelf, we see that there are different types of nuschaot. There's different customs on different prayer books. Now, there's three main ones, or maybe even four, but we'll just say there's Nusach Ashkenaz, there's Sfard, I'll explain, there's Arizal, and then there is Edut HaMizrach. These are the main ones. Yes, there's Temani, there's obviously Moroccan Sidurim, Syrian Sidurim, but for the most part, that's the way they are divided up. There's Ashkenaz, Sfard, Arizal, and Edut Mizrach. As Sfaradim, we read from the terminology and the scripture and the books that are Edut HaMizrach, because that is our tradition. Even a Moroccan Sidur bases itself primarily on an Edut Mizrach Nusach, and therefore this is our tradition, our minhag, how to pray. Ashkenaz, we'll go to the other extreme, is completely a European Sidur. Sephard, not Sfarad, it's read as Sfard. Sephard is more Hasidic. It's kind of a mixture between Ashkenaz and Edut Mizrach. However, it still leans more towards Ashkenaz. Arizal is normally the Nusach, the terminology, the words that are said by Chabad. And that is, again, very similar to Sfard, but a little closer to Edut Mizrach, but it's practically Sfard. As Sfaradim, and as the Chachamim have told us, the most authentic of the different terminologies how to pray, take a guess, would be Edut Mizrach. And now, there are a lot of proofs brought to this. And one of the main proofs, and we can definitely discuss it at another time, is the Arizal himself, by Yitzhak Luria, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. He himself was of European descent. And when he came to Tzfat, and he obviously was delving deeper into the Kabbalistic teachings and all of that, he himself took upon to start praying like a Sephardic, Edut Mizrach. So the proof that's brought in is if he, who was of European and Ashkenazic descent, changed over to like a Sephardic prayer, then definitely that would be a great enough proof that would be the most authentic prayer. So halacha lemaseh, listen to this. An Ashkenaz is allowed to change their siddur and change it for a Sephardic siddur and pray out of it. And a Sephardic would not be allowed to do that. They would not be able to take a Sephardic siddur and change it and start using an Ashkenaz siddur. This is halacha lemaseh. However, Chavad Yosef ends off that if you are somewhere and you don't have a siddur and you don't have an app on your phone and it's either pray Ashkenaz or don't pray at all, of course you're going to pray with whatever you have. And if you already prayed and then you realize you prayed from the wrong siddur, also you're not going to go redo your prayer. However, ideally one should stick to their own custom, and as we said, an Ashkenaz has no problem switching over to praying like a Sepharad. Zat Hashem, I think it speaks for itself. Tonight, Mincha Arvit is going to be